And I figured out for everyone who's been here for the last couple of weeks since our Zoom attack, they've got a new security setting, and it's been very annoying to have to let people in out of rooms if they happen to pop in and out. And so now you can actually take the rooms on and the waiting room off, which is kind of
cool. Good.
Yeah, that was really quite annoying. Hey Meredith, welcome, and Shelly, welcome. Hey Meredith, we're gonna do a quick, and Astrolita and Shelly, can't see you, and Charito, you look super comfortable. Just before we get started, I found something. As everybody knows, who's been to my house, I have a bathroom collection of books, and this is Getting Things Done: The Art of Stress-Free Productivity by David Allen. And so I thought this would be a fun one because it was very interesting yesterday we're doing a lot of us have committed to doing co-working on Monday at 10 o'clock. If anyone wants to join us in the Coffee House Network, it's included if you have if you've already purchased a ladies meeting membership, you can come for 5 weeks for free. It's included. And one of the things that came up is we all had made a commitment to vacuum. Anybody else here have a commitment to vacuum but not got around to it?
I did one room.
I vacuumed like my house 1,000 times.
My husband just keeps sweeping. I'm like, oh, that's good enough.
So my hubby is doing the weeding, not the vacuuming. It's ongoing.
Does that mean he's packing more dirt in though?
My hubby's also doing the weeding.
When you live in Pemberton?
That was a joke for those of you.
I gotcha.
Basic truism I've discovered over 20 years of coaching and training is that most of the stress people experience comes from inappropriately managed commitments that they make or accept. And they could be as small as the vacuum. Even those who are not consciously stressed out will invariably experience greater relaxation, better focus, and increased productive energy when they learn more effectively to control the open loops of their lives. Anything that does not belong where it is, the way it is an open loop and pulling at your attention. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do like that the basic requirements for managing these commitments. Managing commitments will require the implementation of some basic activities and behaviors. And I think more than ever, because we're all at home, and I don't know about you, but I have promises to myself because I'm like, I don't have to, I can go to work right now, I still have a job. I can go in and work from 3 till 1 a.m. if I want. I can go work for 4 hours or 6 hours. There's no, it's whatever I want to do, which actually makes it harder because it's taken me out of routine. And so I've made these other commitments. For example, I've been doing all my artwork. I have my little bear, and I have my little, I've made a commitment to get all these little creative things out of my head. For those who were here earlier, Jennifer in the corner there, she gets this rock that I painted for her. I'm going to go over to Coquitlam at some point. So I made all these commitments to get these things done. I told her the day before that I was going to paint her a rock, and it got done. But these are all little things that start to weigh on you if you don't get them done, even though they're little things like I'm going to get this done and have a glass of wine. So first of all, if it's on your mind isn't clear. Anything you consider unfinished in any way must be captured in a trusted system outside your mind, and what I call a collection bucket that you'll come back to regularly and sort through. So for me, I've designed my own planner. It's all handwritten on. I'll send you guys a copy of the sheets that I've done. They're all customized. I've taken all these different planners that didn't work for me so that I can dump my brain into them. And it's really helping because it's getting it out of here and onto there and being able to cross them out or check them off. Secondly, you must clarify exactly what your commitment is and decide what you have to do, if anything, to make progress towards fulfilling it. And third, once you've decided on all those actions you need to take, you must keep reminders of them organized in a system you regularly review. So for some of us that have decided to do co-working, or people who've joined my mastermind group, or you've got a business coach and you've made those commitments and you've written them down and you're following them up the system, Are you taking some of those little niggly things as well that maybe aren't to do with your business and taking those off your brain as well? So do you have, maybe you've got business stuff, but do you have one that is for the vacuuming and the house chores? We didn't used to do, you know, a lot of us aren't used to really tracking our housework because we're not at home as much as we are right now. So I would just challenge you guys, does anybody have a system that they work that's working for them?
Well, I just have a simple to-do list, and I go down, and every time I click it off, it just feels really good. There's just that little simple rush of done, next. It's the simplest thing in the world, and I do it at night before I go to bed, and it just gives me a roadmap during my day.
Awesome. Awesome. Anyone else? Cool. Meredith, if you want to come on, I was going to offer you a minute. She's a member as well. Oh, there you go. She's one of our members with her collect. She actually has a live co-working space. I'll let her introduce it to you. And just before we go around, I'm going to pair up before we go off, and we're going to do I Can, I Have, I Want. And we're going to do it in twos twice. Just like I always say, meet two amazing women at the ladies meeting, and you're going to go and have 1 minute each of I Can, I Have, I Want. And we'll go into meeting rooms. You have 1 minute each. But before that, Meredith, if you want to give yourself a plug for your space for once you reopen or something that you're doing right now.
Sure. Thank you so much. You caught me. I put my bathrobe back on, so I turned my video off. Yeah, so I have Havana Co-working Collective. So up until mid-March, we were a co-working space in downtown Vancouver, and now we are an online platform for connection, learning, and building. So what we did with the pandemic is we moved everything online, and so we had always done lunch and learns and seminars and masterminds. Now we've been doing those online. My offer to you all is if you wanted to join us for a lunch and learn in May, our theme for the month is self-care. And I'm finding it to be something that is of utmost importance right now while we're all dealing with a lot of uncertainty. I have something like 6 or 7 different lunch and learns. We're just really going hard with self-care. There's a lot of different angles to take. If there's one of them that speaks to you, just reach out to me and let me know that you are here, and I will get you registered in. I'm sorry, I don't have like a fully streamlined way to like deliver that offer, but
just put your email in the notes here. If you can go,
sure.
Down and put your thing in the notes, and then also I can, if you want to email me personally something, I can send out to the ladies as well. And just trying to help
Sure.
Grace get on here as well. 1 second, we'll have one more person.
Thank you so much.
One second. Oh. Okay. Okay, she has the link. She should be on shortly. In the meantime, I'm going to split us all out into rooms. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, so I'll do 7 rooms. If anyone hasn't done breakout rooms before, it's pretty cool. You just go into the More button and you decide how many rooms you want. I'm actually going to do 6 rooms for now, and I'll pop Grace into one. And I'm just going to have it do automatically create rooms. And then you're going to have, just if you can watch your watches, but I'll also stick a timer on, and I'll give you a 1 minute warning, and then you'll switch. And so for Jennifer, if you haven't been here, Blair, you haven't been to the ladies meeting, I'll just put in the notes. You're going to go through and do I can, I have, I want. And maybe we can have someone do a sample for us. How about Andrea? Andrea, are you hearing me? Do you want to do a sample of I can, I have, I want? Because you're one of our amazing members. And then you can also pop your offer in at the end as well, and then put the link in the notes.
Okay. I can, even at the age of 53, learn new ways to do things. and I'm very much using this time to do that. I have 2 teenagers who are driving me crazy. And I want for my business to continue growing. It is still going on through this time, which is amazing, and that's because of the lipstick effect. I don't know if you know about that, but in the war, if you don't know about the lipstick effect, during the war, it was declared that lipstick was an essential item because it made women feel great. Check it out, the lipstick effect. And also right now, Anissa just said to let you all know about our offer. We always have amazing offers at Synergence, and I'm always offering right now, right through this time, to any member 10% off their order. I don't post that anywhere, so that's just for you guys to know. And secondly, we do have an offer this month to join our Synergence community for $0, which means you can get up to 50% off your product and sell to others if you so wish. You don't have to, but you can get your own products for up to 50% off. And we sell skincare, makeup, shampoo, etc. So anything body care, skincare related, makeup related. Gina's going, yes, because she has it too.
Okay, awesome. So
that's my offer.
Okay, so post the link that you want people to share in the chat box. Everybody can go into that. We'll also email it out later. And so you're going to go into your meeting rooms for 1 minute, and you're each going to do that. You're not going to, the idea is, if you haven't been to the ladies meeting before, is we know you probably have your own business and you probably want to sell something, but we really want to get to know who you are and what you want in life. And we want you to dream big and tell us your big, hairy goals, so that we can help you reach them. Because it might not be one of us that's buying something from you, but we might know 10 people who might buy something from you. So it's about the network. It's not about that one person in front of you, but we need to get to know, like, and trust you first. So I'm gonna hit create rooms and welcome Grace. I'm throwing you out into a room. Bye. 1 minute each.
Okay.
Oh, did we get our own room?
I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know I was going to get a room. For some reason, it didn't put you into room 1. That's okay. Do you want to go in with someone else, or do you want to be with me?
I can be with you.
So?
Well, I can weather this. I can weather this isolation because I have a great partner and I still get to see my granddaughter. I have had some bad days, like a couple in the 6 weeks, and that's hard for me because I'm always upbeat, but I just let myself experience the feelings. I want to be a bit more motivated with my business. Being creative, I get distracted, doing the baking with Lily, or I've been enjoying getting back to my sewing machine, and I have a bag of rocks from Haida Gwaii that I'm dying to get to. So I guess it's, staying on top of the business aspect and, being more disciplined. But I'm working out, so that's a good thing.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, come in. I don't know what the timeline is on Monday mornings, but come co-work with us.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you do 1 full hour of connecting with everybody, and then an hour of just like 15 minutes on each side of connecting with each other, and then you do a full hour of work. And people are really finding it's useful right now. So that's totally available to you if you want to join us, and it's just on Zoom. So yeah. Diliana, you're here. Do you want to come online? And we're just doing I can, I have, I want. I don't know if she's there though. Are you there? Are you there, Diliana? Okay, well, I'm going to do mine then. We'll leave her. Hi. We can't see you. Are you available?
Hi.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
So everyone's out in breakout rooms. Oops, I better send a note. We're just doing I can, I have, I want. So what, you just going around and saying something that you can do, something that you have that maybe you're thankful for, or and then something you want to get done or you want.
I can, I have, I want. Right?
I can, I have, I want.
So something that I can do, something that I have do, and something that I want to do.
Yep.
So I can book more interview calls for my marketing research. I already did some marketing research for few people, and I want to do more marketing research. So that's my I can, I have, I want.
Okay, awesome. And I'm going to pull people back into the main room in 1 minute here.
Sorry.
I always hate pulling people right out of their rooms. It's so hard. You feel because you know they're in the middle of great conversations.
I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay. Before.
Okay, here we go. Everybody's coming out. That was fun.
It was great.
Yeah, awesome. Really good. Lori, thumbs up.
Nice to chat,
like
Blair.
Yes.
Awesome.
Hi, Kathy.
Oh, I can take pictures again. Okay, we're gonna do one photo. Everybody thumbs up. Hello. Awesome.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing I put lipstick on.
I put lipstick on it. I started at 6 this morning. Kathy and I got up and did a 30-day miracle morning launch, and then we had Meg and I and Kathy did 8:30. We did Raise Your Vibe, and another person came on as well, Sally. And then we did 10 a.m. We did co-working. So my lipstick is long gone. I should have put some more on. I'm going to hand this over to our guest. She is a local up in Pemberton, and we were talking about how long we've known each other, and I totally believe she is part of my soul circle. And she's been showing up in my life all the time, whether it's walking through the village or first time I saw her was talking at Matt Astafan's web-friendly group when she was running her own magazine. She's always motivated. Even when she's having a hard time, she pulls off a great smile and always gets other people to feel good that are around her. And this is Blaire Kaplan Venables, the now married woman and public speaker and about to be published author. Totally blessed to know you, and take it away.
Hi, everyone. So I think what might make sense is if everyone goes on mute, and if you have questions, pop them in the chat, but we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. How long do I have?
Let's do
half an hour.
I should have backed this up with Gina's also going to be speaking after, and we'll probably run over a little bit. Hopefully everyone's okay with that. So why don't you do it depends how long you want to do with Q&A afterwards. So let's go a half an hour.
Okay, sweet. So what, I made a schedule, so don't listen to it. So hi everyone, I'm Blaire Kaplan Venables. I am a creator, communicator, storyteller. I live up in Pemberton, BC. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Any other prairie people? Raise your hands. Boop, boop. No, just me. All right. Oh yeah, Debbie. So anyways, I've had my communications company. It's turning 12 this year. It's my biz mitzvah. I'm Jewish. I had a bat mitzvah. I can say that, biz mitzvah. And I'm putting out my first book. It's called Pulsing Through My Veins, Raw and Real Stories from an Entrepreneur. My specialty is public relations with a focus on digital communications. I am a millennial, as we talked about earlier in this call. But today I'm going to be talking about resilience. And I'm going to start with my story. My story is a little heavy. So this is a trigger warning. If it's something that is a trigger for you and you need to walk away, please do so. Maybe just respect your feelings. I just want to say I'm not a professional therapist. I'm a professional human, as all of you are. And this is just my experience and my journey. And I'm sharing with you how I've built resilience over the years. So I'm just going to share my screen to my PowerPoint I made. And I'm going to be talking about how to strengthen your resilience. Whoa. What's going on here? Let's try that again. Hold on. I got to move you all out of my, there we go. So I'm going to be talking about how to strengthen my resilience muscle. So I was going to originally read a story to you, but I just want to be really conscious of time because I think my story is really important, but how to build resilience, and this is something, and these are things anyone can do, is really what I want the takeaways to be. Let's see here. So we don't really need to look at the plan because the plan is obsolete at this point. So this is a picture of me and my father, Leonard. So a little bit about who I am and where I came from. So I am born in Winnipeg, born in '85. My mom's a dental hygienist. My dad was a diamond dealer and graduate gemologist. '84 and '85 Stanley Cup rings. Those were my dad's. So my dad did really well for himself in the '80s, and he built an empire. And with money came invites to certain level of society's parties, and he was introduced to cocaine in the '80s. And when the party stopped, so did everyone else but him. And he developed a really serious addiction. The addiction was bad enough that he knew he had to leave our family. He didn't want me and my sister and my mom to be around it. He knew he couldn't be the father that he should be to us. And so my parents divorced when I was younger, when I was 8. My parents never really explained to me why they were getting divorced. And back then we didn't know what we know now about addiction and mental health. And so my dad was painted more like a villain because when I had scheduled family visits, he wouldn't show up, or he'd show up late after telling me he would be there. I'd be so excited for him to come to my roller skating birthday party. Remember those? Those were the best. I love roller skating birthday parties. But, you know, I would wait for him by the door. I would do a lap, sit by the door and wait for him, do a lap, sit by the door and wait for him. He would never come. And so I was a daddy's girl. I had a special bond with my dad. But what happened was he broke that bond, and it went from being, you know, a daddy's girl to having all this anger and broken heart and lack of trust for men, especially him, because he wasn't well. And he was then villainized by my family for being an asshole, but really he was sick. And no one had a conversation with me about, your dad loves you no matter what, he's just unwell. And I didn't understand that. So I went through my life, my formative years, with a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, a lot of sadness. You know, I grew up in the Jewish community in Winnipeg. I went to private school, and my family wasn't like the other people's families. And I just wanted it to be what I saw on TV and what my friends had. And I just didn't have it. My mother, she raised 2 kids on her own, put us through private school, summer camp lessons. She did an amazing job. My mom is a very strong woman. I actually dedicate my book to her. And I owe a lot to my mother. I was also given the gift of attending something called the Landmark Forum in my 20s. So I used to work for Lululemon. I helped open the store in Winnipeg. I moved in, I got promoted when I finished my public relations program at the University of Winnipeg, and I went to Edmonton. And if you had goals to move up within the organization, they gave you the gift of Landmark. I saw this as a free trip to Vancouver, because who doesn't want a free trip to Vancouver? I mean, most of you know this because you've been there or you are there. And I didn't really I thought it was maybe going to be too woo-woo, like whatever. I was like more like free trip. I get to visit, see my best friend and my family. And the Landmark Forum changed my life. I can't remember the exact moment, but something clicked while I was there, and I was given the tools to forgive my dad. And I had a conversation with him on one of my breaks, crying my eyes out in a grocery store, like used a calling card, called my dad. And I basically decided I'm going to forgive him, and I want to move forward with whatever relationship he was able to give me. And we talked about it, and I was like, I wanted to let go of everything that I was holding on to and move forward, because I had a lot I was carrying with me. And I'm sure some of you can relate. Like when something happens, it's really hard sometimes to let it go because it's just so devastating. But I made this decision that I was tired and upset, and I didn't want to be like that anymore. And my dad and I had this beautiful conversation, and we started to develop this beautiful relationship. So that's in my early 20s. So we start developing this beautiful relationship. I'm actually starting to get to know my dad because I didn't really know him. You know, you only know so much about your dad until you're 7 or 8, and now I'm a grown up. I eventually moved to Vancouver, and my dad started to come to visit me, and we started to develop a really beautiful relationship, and I started to learn more about him. We talked about the hard stuff about his addiction. We talked about memories, goals, like his business, lots of really cool things. And so I got to have my dad back in my life, and it was really beautiful, or is really beautiful. However, at the end of 2018, he was told that his chronic pulmonary obstructive disorder, his COPD, which basically like is a lung issue. He can't breathe. He's oxygen dependent, and he has a few other health issues. But he was told at the end of the year of 2018 that he only had about 1.5 to 2 years left to live unless he was given a lung transplant, which we've later found out he wasn't eligible for because they found cancer, or the starting of cancer, on his lung. And so here I am, finally have my dad back in my life, and he's being taken away from me. And it felt like I was hit by a truck. I just couldn't imagine something like that was going to happen. I pictured my dad. He walked me down the aisle. I picture him being a grandfather to my future children. I pictured him being an old crazy man, because now he's like a semi-old crazy man. And I was excited for him to like be like really old and kooky and like just go through life with him, because I finally have him back in my life. And now it's like, well, you had your time and now he's terminal. So my dad and I talked about it, and I decided for 2019, my word was going to be resilient. My dad and I decided, let's share our story. So we started sharing our story, and it was changing people's lives. People would hear my story about forgiveness, and they would go, hey, Blair, I just made an appointment with a therapist. I want to fix my relationship with my mom. Or, hey, I heard your story and you've empowered me to fly to Ontario and fix things with my dad. Or your story inspired me and I'm looking at ways to, have a conversation with my mom. And it was really powerful. And my dad and I talked about it, and we're like, you know what? Let's just make this our legacy. Let's tell our story and see how many people we can help. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to gather stories. I'm going to gather other people's stories of resilience and overcoming challenges, and I'm going to write a book. How am I going to do that? I know, I'll create an online community. And so the I Am Resilient Project was born. And the I Am Resilient Project is a community where we collect stories of resilience, stories of overcoming challenges, any type of challenge. We publish them on our website. They get published on our social media. And I'll be compiling 52 of those stories to go in a published coffee table style book. And the book is bookended with my story and my father's story, and that's going to be our legacy piece. I've also recently started to do a radical resilience series where we're doing interviews, and the audio is going to be converted into podcast, and it's really cool. And so what I really started learning about resilience was I've been building it all along without even knowing I was going to be faced with such challenges. And like, guys, this isn't even like the half of it. Like my year just kind of like exploded into like a shit storm, and everything's fine. Everything is great. I chose the word resilience for 2019, and the universe said, I'm going to show you how resilient you really are. And like, just high level, what happened, like my grandfather was like my father, my dad's dad, because my dad couldn't be my father when I was younger. So my grandfather became really sick, and he ended up passing away on my husband's birthday. So I ended up going to Winnipeg for a really long time. And on the way back from Winnipeg, from the funeral, we were on the highway driving back home, because it's a 3-hour drive from the airport to our home. And we got in a car accident. I got concussion and whiplash, which threw me everything off. And then as I finally started to recover from that, my husband ended up having a minor heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery. He's still not back to work. So 2019 was very challenging, to say the least, but good thing I'm resilient. And so the long and short of this is that there are things that you can start doing today, little things that are going to help to build your resilience muscle, because you never know when life is going to throw you a car accident, or a family member getting sick, or a husband having a heart attack, or, a job loss. You just never know when a pandemic's going to strike. So I'm going to share with you a few ways that I find have really helped build my resilience. So number one, prioritize sleep. There's tons of studies out there about sleep. Prioritizing sleep is important. I know that for me, I function best with 8 hours. I can function on 7 hours. I also don't have kids. Like, so I know when I have kids, this is going to change. But if I have a really bad sleep or I have deadlines and I can't get a full night's sleep, I make sure I take naps. I know that I'm my best self when I sleep. I know that my anxiety, I have anxiety and depression. I'm prescribed CBD and Prozac. I know that when I'm sleeping, my symptoms are manageable, and I know that I'm making better decisions. You might, when you're stressed out, sleep isn't always easy. Like, I've been through situations recently, and I'm not able to discuss them yet, but I was having trouble sleeping, and when I fell asleep, I would have weird dreams. So I started doing some meditation and some journaling. I did what I needed to do to prioritize sleep. If that meant I knew I need to be in bed by 9, I would start my bedtime process at 8:30 if I knew it took me half an hour. And it didn't matter if I was missing out on quality time with friends or my husband, but what's important is that you take care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Let's nod. Yeah. Sleep, okay? Fuel your body. I know that wine is delicious. I know that, as we spoke about earlier, Bacardi is delicious. Like, I like alcohol, but what was happening was it was triggering my anxiety, and I wasn't turning to alcohol to escape. But even if I had a glass of wine, it was really impacting me. So what I decided was that on December 31st, 2018, so right after I got the news about my dad, that New Year's Eve was going to be the last time I drank. Not necessarily forever, but like while navigating my father's end of life, I cut out everything that didn't serve me. And little did I know that while cutting out alcohol, which triggered my anxiety, I also started eating really healthy and really clean. And I wasn't giving myself excuses like, oh, I had some wine last night, I think I need a Big Mac, or I need to eat like crap. Like, I love greasy fast food. I mean, there's not very much in Pemberton, but I love any excuse to like eat out. But what I started doing was I started balancing my macros. I started eating to fuel my body, making sure I ate every 2.5 to 3 hours. I hired a coach. I didn't do this on my own, but there's a lot of free resources out there. But I was eating to fuel my body. So I was making sure that I was eating an adequate amount of proteins and fats and carbs. And I was trying to reduce things that I knew dragged me down, that would make me feel more sluggish or impact my mental health. So I mostly cut out dairy and gluten and added sugar, except for when I PMS, because I'm addicted to milk duds. So do what you can to fuel your body. And you don't need to make a big change all at once. Like, drink water. Like, I always have a glass of water at my desk. It's very easy. If you have water near you, this is a good time to take a sip. You don't need to make a huge change overnight, but start adding little things in. Maybe instead of having Pepsi or your pop, you have tea. Maybe instead of like reaching for a chocolate bar after dinner, you make a tea with honey. Like, that's what I've been doing. Find the healthy version of what your weakness is and slowly make those changes. But you want to eat and drink to fuel your body. And I'm not saying you need to cut out alcohol. That's just what I did, but it's made a huge difference for my mind and my body. Get fresh air. So now I understand that everyone is in a unique situation right now. I have friends in Manhattan who can't leave even their apartment, but they have windows. Do what you can to get fresh air. I am safe at home. I am also lucky to be in Pemberton, where we have access to the trails. I make sure I start my day off outside. This morning I went for a hike. Yesterday I went for a walk around the lake. At the second time in the day, I make sure I get outside, even if it's just for 20 minutes on my deck or another walk or a bike ride. I prioritize getting fresh air because it calms the nerves. Have you ever heard of forest bathing? It's a phenomenon that came out of Japan, and it's basically walking in the woods, and it helps balance your mental health. And I don't really know too much about forest bathing, except for that when I read about it, I was like, well, I've basically been doing that my whole life. Find some nature. You know, maybe you can't get outside, but you have some plants. Open your window, move your plants to your window, and hang out by your window. Maybe do some meditation. But by not being in front of a screen and by taking yourself and going into the elements, it's really good for your mental health. And eventually it just all the goodness that you're adding into your life is going to build up and build for your resilience. So, you know, like when things are stressful, you don't just panic work. Like, has anyone done that before? Like, oh, I'm stressed out, I have a deadline, I'm just going to try and get everything out and like make a bunch of mistakes, or like it's not my best work. Stop what you're doing. Go outside. Take a minute, reset. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch, and come back. And then once you build that habit in to get fresh air, maybe you sit with your head hung out your window. I don't really know what you're going to do. It becomes part of your routine. And you know that, like, okay, instead of freaking out, I need 20 minutes outside, or I'm going to go breathe some fresh air and move your body. Like, have you heard of runner's high? Like, who doesn't want to be fueled by endorphins and adrenaline? You can't leave your apartment. You can work out in your living room. There's free workouts on the internet. If you can get outside, go for a lap around the block. My mom's in Winnipeg and the weather hasn't been awesome. So she's been, when it's not snowing, going for walks around the block. When it is snowing, she uses a gazelle because she bought it from Tony Little on the shopping channel. Anyways, so that's her example for her, because she's an urban center in Winnipeg. For me, when the weather's bad, I still go outside, but there's still some things I do in my living room. I have weights. I do a little booty workout. I just discovered Booty Love. It's an awesome workout. And there's a free 15-minute video that I swear to God, you'll feel. But it's funny. And I found what works for me. And there's all these resources, especially now, for you to move your body. I know for me, movement is best in the morning because it wakes my body up and then it opens my mind to be more creative. But I also know that it manages my anxiety, and that when I move my body, even for 20 minutes a day, if that's all I have time for, I know that I'm able to think more clearly and I'm able to rebound from challenges a lot faster. And that is what resilience is, being able to rebound from your challenge. So moving your body is a really important thing that you should do. Sharing your story. Whether you share your story with a therapist, and there's nothing wrong with therapy. I have a really great therapist. I love her. I'm grateful for therapy. Maybe you share your story with a journal. Maybe you've never really, it's just manifesting in your head. Have you ever told your story of the things you've overcome or what you're feeling? Journaling, open up a journal and start writing by hand, or type it out, or pull out your typewriter. Maybe you have a story that you want to share with the world. There are tons of communities out there that want to hear your story. Maybe it's on your Facebook page. Maybe it's the I Am Resilient community. Share your story, getting it off your chest. If you're someone who likes to share, which I think a lot of us are, we're all here to network. So I think we all have an element of that in us. Sharing your story is a really good way to build, really great way to build resilience, because not only are you sharing your story, but the people who read or hear your story potentially can relate to it. And you might empower those people to start moving through their challenge. And I know I'm someone who likes to share and talk. If I want to talk through my feelings, I want to talk through my situations. Sharing my story with my husband or my business coach or my therapist or the I Am Resilient community or my Instagram followers, it helps me heal. It helps me move through my challenges, and it helps me be more resilient. And now the next one is the last tip I'm going to share, and it's one of my most favorite ones. I mean, share your story is obviously one of my favorite ones because I built a whole community around it. But practicing gratitude. So I can't really, can I see a little nod? I can't actually see all of you. So maybe if I just give me a thumbs up. Do you practice gratitude every day, every week, every month? So, okay, there's a bit of science behind this. So practicing gratitude is extremely important. And the reason that I started practicing it was because about 5 years ago, I went on a retreat. I went to a luxury wellness retreat in Victoria, and it was by the Life Delicious, and we had prerequisite reading to do before we went and videos to watch before we went. And I watched this one video from Sean Acor, and this video was about happiness. And in that video, I learned that if you practice gratitude, so if you practice gratitude around the same time every day, and you practice by listing 3 things you're grateful for every single day, for at least 21 days, the neural pathways in your brain start to change so that you see the world in a more positive way. I was like, well, I'll try it. So I set my phone alarm for 9 p.m. and every single day at 9 p.m. my alarm goes off, and it has for over 5 years, I think. I mean, time's kind of blurred. I don't even know what day it is or month or year, but whatever. But yeah, so I practice what I'm grateful for. If I'm at a party, 30 people will stop and we'll all do it. If I'm in my house, I'm having a bad day and I don't do it right away, and my husband's at the other side of the house, I hear him yell, "I'm grateful for hockey, cats, and boobies." He's funny about it. But my husband will do it. I do it. I put it most of the time on my Instagram story. I save it to my highlights. But I share the things I'm grateful for. When you're going through something really bad, really crappy, it forces you to stop and find 3 things you're grateful for. So You know, when my husband was in the hospital, we still did it. Me, his parents, Gord from Fort St. John, who was like in his 70s, we all stopped to talk about what we're grateful for. You know, I was grateful for the Wi-Fi in the hospital and hot coffee and to have a friend's house to stay at when my husband was in the hospital, right? If you're having a really bad day, you can find 3 things that you're grateful for. And sometimes it's big. Sometimes I'm grateful for landing that new client. I'm grateful my book has been done. I'm grateful for the sunshine. Like, it can be anything. And I challenge all of you to set an alarm in your phone, call it the gratitude alarm, and have it go off every single day. And it's a non-negotiable. Like, mine goes off in the movie theater. Mine goes off at, like, I went to Palm Springs with my sister and my mom, and I was in bed at 8:00 every night. It went off every day, every night at 9. My sister hated me because we were sharing a room. It's my non-negotiable. And it made a difference because, yes, this year I lost my grandfather. I got a really bad concussion and whiplash that I'm still suffering from. My husband almost died. I still have a smile. And yes, there's lots of tears. The world's in a pandemic. But I'm able to move through those challenges with a little bit more lightness. And I think a lot of it has to do with being in the practice of gratitude. And so this is the time where I invite, can we do a breakout? You're muted. I can't hear you. Hold on.
Unmute. Okay, so if everyone can unmute themselves.
So do you want to do it all together, or should we do maybe 2 or 3 breakouts? What I would like to do is I would like everyone to go around and maybe we break this out into, or maybe we do it with, I don't know how you want to do it, but I'd like everyone to list 3 things they're grateful for from the past 24 hours.
Let's just go into groups of 2 because then it keeps it pretty quick. We can do one minute each and it keeps it fast.
Fantastic. So we're going to break out into groups of 2, and I want you to list 3 things from the past 24 hours you're grateful for and what time your gratitude alarm will be set for.
Awesome. Okay, here you go, guys. I'll give you 1 minute each. Deliana. So what I did is I set my alarm for 5:43 a.m. every morning to say 3 things I am grateful for. And I picked a really perky alarm. So, and 3 things I'm grateful for today is that I was still able to make coffee, even though my coffee pump broke. I got up on time and there was a hot pink sunrise. So I ran out of bed instead of just got up because I had to be up for 6 sharp. And I am grateful that the cucumbers were on for $1 a piece this week. Next. Debbie, you're on mute.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I'm grateful for my our personal trainer training us online during this. And I'm grateful I got to play outside with Lily, and grateful for good health and sunshine.
Awesome.
I'm setting my alarm for 10 p.m. so that I can go to sleep with the grateful thoughts and before I meditate for the people who are sick and need some prayers.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that, Deb. Diana.
Okay, so I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for that, for my practice every day, for my morning routine, for my yoga practice, and for my meditation. And I set up alarm after my meditation. It's finished in the morning to journaling about I have the journal for gratefulness, but sometimes I forget. So I have to set up alarm, really.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna head back.
we mute ourselves?
There we go. Welcome back, everybody.
All right. So, thanks for taking the time. See, we just did that. I never put my fun slide up. Thanks for taking the time to share with the other people in the meeting. I think it's something really fun and beautiful to do. And like, if you're not comfortable sharing out loud, you know, even just writing them down in a journal. Some people do the practice in the morning, but that has, to me, been the biggest tool in helping me build my resilience, because I was able to move through my challenging year, probably with less tears than I would have without the gratitude practice, but also I didn't start drinking again. Like, I still haven't touched alcohol. I don't know. I wasn't escaping, and I was really honoring my feelings, and being grateful really helps me find the beauty in the day. So I just want to say something before we wrap up. I got a notification today from my web hosting, which reminded me that today is my 1-year anniversary for the I Am Resilient project. So happy birthday to me. So it's exciting. We have a bunch of stories from all over the world. Well, actually all over North America. I wish it was all over the world one day soon. But all over North America, we have stories. People have heard about us just from social media, word of mouth. We're doing this interview series where we're just interviewing humans who have stories to share about their current situation and how they're moving through it. They're about 10-minute interviews. And I just invite you to share. If you feel like you want to share, maybe you want to be interviewed. I can tag your business. Maybe you want to share your story, maybe both. I think both would be really great. But we exist for you. And I just want to remind you that it's okay to not be okay. Right now, things are kind of crazy in the world, but you are resilient. And if you ever need anything, just reach out to me. Thank you. Are there questions maybe?
There we go. If anyone, I love that the microphone is smart enough to know when I'm talking. If anyone has any questions or wants to have a bit of a discussion, feel free before we bring Gina on.
Can I just say one quick thing? Mm-hmm. This is exactly, I'm blown away. I'm inspired. Blair, thank you very much. What you said is exactly what I needed to hear today.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing.
I thank you for that. I've been wanting to kind of put on the brakes in my life. I've been busy with a bunch of things, and I won't go into that right now, except to say I need time. I need time. I've been super busy. And what you just said is put on the brakes, take time for yourself, and be grateful. Thank you very much for that. I will definitely practice gratitude daily. I'm inspired by that. And I'm going to sort of dig a little deeply after hearing you with resilience and think about how I can now slow down a little bit and turn my day around so I'm more in the driver's seat and not being overwhelmed by it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. If it's okay with you guys, I have a mailing list. I've sent one newsletter out in the past year, so like you don't get spammed. But I'll add you to it so you can be in the loop, read other people's stories. I'd like to get a newsletter out this week because it's our anniversary, but you know how passion projects are. Paid clients, passion projects. So it's been on my list for like a couple weeks now to do a newsletter, but I'll add you all to the newsletter. And if you want to unsubscribe, we can still be friends. It's totally okay. But yeah, it's, thank you. Thanks for being a part of my Tuesday.
Cool. Anyone else? Amazing. All right. Well, thank you, Blair. I really appreciate that you've taken the time out to do this, and great. It's been great. If you get a chance to go back and just listen to our little discussion on the Coffee House Network as well, as I did with Maggie as well. It's just so great to get to know people a little bit more deeply when they come on as speakers. I really appreciate the time that you guys spend with me. Gina, we didn't record, but we spent probably a good 45 minutes on the phone yesterday, and it was just awesome, sister. It was great. I needed that. Thank you. And for anyone that is a member, I've got some gifts at the end, so stick around till the end. I have some great gifts. As the people who showed up for co-working on the first week, they got invited to a private dinner party. So that was cool for the first week of co-working, but I have some other fun gifts as well. So I want to introduce someone who made me 10 years ago become a little bit braver in my own life. I was divorced. I had 2 little kids. I lived in a town I hated, and I had a mind bigger than, I knew all these things I wanted to do. I was on social media. I was listening to Tony Robbins, and people were telling me I was crazy. I was sitting in the middle of the mall selling email, and people were like, I have a fax machine. Like, why would I need email? And I was always like that little bit ahead of the curve. And I was the crazy person in Abbotsford. I was the one who was like, no, you need a Facebook page. And they're like, what's the internet? We don't need Facebook. We don't need this. We don't need that. I'm like, no, really, you're going to need it. And Gina inspired me to be myself a little bit more, because she was out there being herself and being courageous and being colorful, always being colorful. And as my little cousin Avery, who has recovered from cancer, he uses brave power, and he gave me a little bit of brave power. Welcome, Gina Best, and she's going to talk about it's okay to not be okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That actually makes me laugh, because I think about 10 years ago and how I am a completely different person now. So when Annalise asked me to talk about some stuff today, I've been doing lots of presentations, and I decided I'm going to wing it. So I actually have a PowerPoint presentation, which I never do, because when I'm on stage, I fall off the stage when I use PowerPoint. But I read a really interesting article last week about if you have a PowerPoint when you're doing a Zoom, people are more engaged. So we're going to try. We'll see how this works. Okay. Let me get this up. Knowing me, I'm going to skip half the slide, so bear with me. Okay, so I've had a lot of conversation. I don't know about you guys. I'm having a little bit of Zoom fatigue. I have a lot of conversations the last couple weeks, and I've actually decided to use the phone more than Zoom, because I can walk around, because I feel trapped when I'm on Zoom. Hence, you're going to laugh at me. I have a teenage boy and a preteen boy. We do homeschooling in the morning, most days, and in the afternoon they're playing video games. So they're downstairs, and my office is downstairs as well. They're really loud. So right now I'm tucked in a corner. This is my sewing nook. My laptop is on my ironing board. I cannot back up because my sewing table's there. But I wanted somewhere to have some privacy. If you hear them, I apologize. And just have some frank discussions. So we're all in a situation at this point that probably none of us have ever been in. And it's really interesting because on social media, which I will admit I'm not on it a lot right now, because that's as much as I can process. And it's funny that Blair talks about resilience, and it's really interesting when her presentation, because it makes me think about resilience in a different way. So we're all in an interesting situation. Some days are good, some days are bad. We have to make peace with some things. I have some mostly good days and some really terrible days, like last week on Thursday before the walk that the child had the meltdown. About 12:30, I cried, and then I had a nap, because it was that kind of day. And then I had a Zoom call with my friend Joe, and so I thought, oh God. So I literally was lying in bed when I answered the Zoom call on my phone, and he's like, what are you doing? And I said, I had a cry and a nap. And he's a psychotherapist, and all we could do was laugh. So this whole being okay, I'm good. Yeah, most of us are lying through our teeth. Some days are good, absolutely. And some days are shit. And that's the reality. I like to say that most of the people in my world will tell me so, but we still have this whole illusion that we should, we could, we need to, and it's time to let it go. So this slide is about the wheel that we do, right? This is, for me, is my daily grind, but it's also the emotional stuff. Should is the big word, right? I should be okay. I should be doing this. I should. My friend Carol Delenko said to me 2 years ago, stop shoulding yourself to death. So I actually catch myself when I use the word. Because right now, you do what you got to do, and that's just the way it is. And like Wednesday, I had to have a cry and a nap. You know, Friday was great. But for me, what got me through last week was trashy novels. I needed to check out. And I didn't want to watch TV because it doesn't do it for me. I literally have read 8 trashy novels since Thursday night. Full on trashy. Love it. Makes me happy. Zones me out. Makes me think. So, okay. So this is our lovely, how do I do this? Oh God, here we go. Let's just screw this. Okay. So we're just gonna, oh, okay. As much as I love trashy novels, I do hear other things. One book that changed my life about 5 years ago was Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. It gave me the permission to use the V word, the vulnerability word. I did a personal development speakers program at the time, and they all laughed at me because I didn't know how to spell vulnerability. I could barely say it. But she gave me permission. This very strong, educated woman was talking about this stuff. So that book changed everything for me. And those of you who don't know my journey, I've had a hell of a 5 years. It's been some major ups and downs. The highlights: end of my marriage after 17 years. My best friend died of ovarian cancer. I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I've had 5 surgeries. So it hasn't been an easy 5 years, but I wouldn't trade any of it. Oh, my brother passed away. So it's been interesting. I had a girlfriend, my girlfriend Heidi, a couple weeks ago said, you need to read this book. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Because she always wants me to read a book. And she's like, no, you really need to read this book. And the book was Glennon Doyle's new book called Untamed. And I'm going to, Annalisa smile at me because I've been raving about it. If you do anything over the next couple weeks, read it or listen to it. I listened to it. I did an audiobook. And I loved it. And this is the line. So then she did a podcast with Brené Brown, and this line is what stuck with me. Fine means half dead. So everybody knows my tagline is fuck fine, because I'm done being just okay. And the one thing that I got out of this book was I've come to the realization I'm done apologizing for myself. You know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. My mom says to me, do you need to curse so much? I'm like, yes, Mom. She said, but why? She said, some people aren't going to want to work with you. And I'm like, that's the whole point. You know, I get it. I am done doing the line of, I'm okay. It's okay. Done. Just done. So the big thing I find with all of this is that it's a choice. You know, if you are alone, if you're going through this alone, if you are prone to depression, anxiety, any of that, please know that this is not, you know, reach out to the people you need, do what you got to do. But for most of us who are, you know, not in that, you know, are not prone to depression or anxiety and stuff like that, we're all getting a little bit. But it's a choice on how you're going to deal with this whole pandemic thing. It truly is a choice. You get to make the choice every single morning. You know, Blair just gave some really amazing tips about how to build resilience, and I love them, and they're so up there. But it's a choice. You know, every morning I get up, and it's anywhere between 5:30 and 7, depending on the day. I work out at 8:30. I do a live workout via Zoom because it makes me accountable, and your psychology follows your physiology. So right there, you know, Blair's one big tip: move your body. You know, I have let go of the fact that I can't work like normal. I have 2 boys here with me all day, every day. Well, that's not true. Saturdays and Sundays, they go to their dads. And some days I'm ready to lose my mind because my youngest child has some major issues. He's got ADHD, among other things. And I'm homeschooling him. Like, oh, I'm not cut out for this shit. But so, you know what? I do the best I can. But I've let go of the fact that I can't work like I did before. And the other thing, too, is I don't want to work like that right now. I want to spend time with my boys. I want to not kill them. We do fun things. We play video games a lot in the afternoons. We go for walks. But I want them to look back at this and know it wasn't terrible. right? Will their academics be where they should be? I have no freaking idea. But we can learn more things. But it's the, Tyson said to me on Thursday before it went south for both of us, he said to me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he kind of looked at me and said, "Do you want to talk about it?" Oh my God, he is my kid. And then I realized after the, terrible day, he wasn't okay either. He wasn't okay either. And I finally got out of him about at bedtime what was going on. And it was my oldest birthday on Monday, and we bought him a Switch. He's totally stepped up. He won't, what do? He can't do anything for birthdays right now. He turned 15, so my ex and I got him a Switch. Well, Tyson's so jealous he can barely stand it. So it's all these little things, but it's the it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to do that to-do list. I do a tip of the week, and right now, of course, it's all around this. My tip of the week last week was pick 2 things. Pick 2 things, right? If you can put 3 on your plate, sure, but just pick 2 things. I have deals with myself. So every day I have to do something for my new online program and something that will support my social media. I have to get back out there. But my challenge with, Blair talks about resilience and stuff. When stuff goes for me, I'm not a drinker. I don't, I can tie one on with the best of them, but I just can't be bothered telling you the truth. I retreat. That's my thing. So I have to be really careful because that's my biggest challenge, because I retreat and then I don't want to do Zooms and I don't want to have phone calls. And then I get, so I know my triggers. Last week on Wednesday, my boy's breathing was annoying me. I was pissy. I was cranky, and it had nothing to do with them. And I kept giving myself timeouts. They were like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm timeout for mom." Timeout, because I didn't want to yell at them. So 5:30, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going for a bike ride." And they both looked at me. I'm like, "Are you hungry?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "I'll feed you when I get back. Don't burn the house down. I'm going for a bike ride." So in this case, in this situation, it's about what you need, right? What do you need to get through the day, to get through the week? You're allowed to, women in general have a challenge using the words "I want," "I need," but right now, for the love of God, please use them, right? What you want, what you need. Everything will be different when this is done. This is our new normal, but the reality is, regardless if you have kids, have a spouse, which I know a lot of you guys do, if you're not okay, they're not okay. And that's a lesson, it's the whole, put your mask on. If the plane's going down, put your mask on first. But if you're not okay, they're not okay. Tyson and I had a conversation last week. It was very interesting. And I said to him, so what's the list of mom's priorities? And he looks at me, puts his hands on his hips, goes, "You, then me and Austin, and then your family." I'm like, "Yep, just making sure you got it." And I said, "What's the list of your priorities?" He's like, "Me." And we waited. And I'm like, "Anything else?" He's like, "No, not right now." I'm like, "Okay." So it's just that, do what you got to do. Use Blair's tips for resilience. Fabulous. Love them. I don't do scheduled gratitude, but I have now put it in. I really like that. I do gratitude every day. But, it's the get outside. For me, it was the books. I just needed to fall in some trashy novels. And it really gave me back my sense of equilibrium. And on Saturday, I'm a doer by nature, recovering control freak. It's taken me years. Saturday, I read. I changed my bed and I read. At one point I had a nap and then I read some more. The dogs looked at me like, "Can we have a walk?" And I'm like, "Nope." And I read some more. And that's all I did. And the whole day I still had to have a little pep talk with myself about it's okay to do nothing. Right? It's okay to not be okay with all this. It's okay to lose your shit. If you're a drinker, I'd say, watch The Hangovers, because they'll bite you in the ass eventually. Please don't, go too far down that road. I've been having a few weeks of boredom eating in a big way, and I've worked really hard to get my weight off. I'm off insulin. I had the come to Jesus conversation with myself on Sunday, and it's either get back in the swing of things or get back on insulin. So I'm back in the swing of things. But it's whatever you need to do to be okay, and that's the biggest message here. Everything is about resilience in one way or another, and we all have stories. And I'll admit I'm not shy. People, I was very open through, I don't know, the personal development, the divorce, the cancer, the surgeries. Like, I'm a pretty open book about all of it. But every time you share your story, it's not just sharing your story to help someone else. It's also sharing your story to heal a little bit. And every time you share it, you heal a little piece of yourself. So share, 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 share. That's what this is all about. And it's interesting how, social distancing, yet some of us are feeling very disconnected in some ways, yet connected in some ways, even more than usual. So that is what I want. It's just about being okay. And this quote, fine means half dead. It was during the podcast that they did together. And I had to, it kind of stopped me in my tracks because I was doing something, I was listening to it. Because you know what? We don't want to be fine. Everybody knows how I feel about the word. But, it's the give yourself permission to be whatever or whoever you want to be. And stop apologizing for what you want, what you need, or who you are. We are women. We are amazing, colorful, individual, independent women who can pretty much do anything we damn well please. But it's allowing yourself the permission to do so. So if you do need some good reading or good listening, Glennon Doyle's new book, Untamed, phenomenal. I listened to it the first time. As soon as I was done, I listened to it the second time. Didn't think I was going to love it. Love it. Said it to my 21-year-old niece. I'm like, you need to hear this, girlie. Right? I was going to send it to her mother, and I thought, that's never going to happen. But it's going to happen with her. So just be okay. That's what it's all about. Get through the day. I will admit there's been a couple times the boys went to bed 8 o'clock, and I go to bed 8:15 because I just need the day to be over. But for the most part, because, every day is a gift. And I know that too much. It's too close to me. So I'm still thankful for every day I get up, even if they're shitty days, because we are still here. And that's what it's all about. And there you go. Questions, comments? I don't know how to stop this. God help us. I am actually very quite computer
You're
literate.
awesome, Gina. We love you.
Oh, baby cake.
Well, I do. I love you. You know that already.
I miss seeing you.
I
God, I want to go out to lunch with my girlfriends.
I know, me too.
No, we should go have a picnic somewhere.
Yeah, we can distance. We can sit in the park and distance.
I got a backyard.
Oh yeah, I'll sit in the back. We'll sit in the backyard.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. If anyone wants links, I did post in the notes in the chat box. I need the links to Brene and Glennon Doyle and the books.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
All there for you. And if your library is not open and you can't order it online, then I think they're all available through like the audiobook.
If you're going to order from Indigo versus Amazon, it comes way, way, way faster. And apparently some Costco will have them.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Gina. This is recorded too, so if anybody wants to go back and listen to any of this, it'll be on the entrepreneurcollective.com in the ladies meeting. There'll be links back to all of the events that we had today. And for everyone that showed up today, I have some special gifts, which is, so 3 months, if anyone has used Trade Exchange, anybody here member of the Trade Exchange?
Oh, I'm not anymore. I was for a long time.
Well, you get, I'm not sure if you don't have a membership, basically she said we can have 3 months free for members. So your fees still apply, but no membership fee for the month, which is kind of cool. I think that's saving you about $35 a month. So I thought that was a really lovely exchange. And out of that, I'm going to buy a $50 gift certificate for Pink Lime. And you just need to put a note in the bottom if you would like to go get a haircut at Pink Lime with $50 towards it. They also do nails and all sorts of stuff. So once they're open again, my hairdresser is there. I love her. She's amazing. But just put your email at the bottom here and we'll do a draw down there for the $50 gift certificate. And for everybody who is already a member of the ladies meeting and has purchased their membership, they are going to get a free year because you showed up today. So whatever your expiry date is, you're going to get an extra year. If you've already expired, then you can either choose to have 3 months free or if you're a new member and you don't know us, like Jennifer probably didn't even know we exist, you can either choose to have 3 months free, or you can get 50% off an annual membership, depending. I know you're like up in the air with work and stuff. So, and then also everybody can have 5 consecutive weeks of co-working with us. And we've had really amazing comments because we're actually really deeply connecting. And that's, and it also encourages you, because you got to do the 5 weeks. It's not like come when you feel like it. It's come and show up for the 5 weeks, and you get those for free. If you're already a member, that's actually going to be a quarterly cost that's going to be included in your membership. So basically everyone here gets a quarter. If you're already a member, you get a 1 quarter year free membership in the online working. Yeah, things like that. So I'm hoping to see you all co-working on Monday at 10 o'clock. You can go and RSVP in the link. I'll pop it down there. I highly recommend everybody connect. Little networking tip that I see gets missed a lot is go back to the meetup page, because you can all send each other messages, or go onto LinkedIn, take a screenshot of this to remind you who was here, and make sure you connect with each other again afterwards and follow up. And Deb Bernstein, and she had a great saying for her business that I really, really loved. It was the first 10 calls of the day, pay the bills. The second 10 calls of the day, pay for the lifestyle. And the third 10 calls of the day, pay for the dream. And it really made me think, because I don't even do 10 calls a day. I've really been on cruise, getting everything's lined up. And because, we were all a little disappointed that we can't get together in person. And I'm so grateful for everybody for showing up even online. It's amazing. So chats, go ahead.
Who told you that?
Who told me what?
The 10 for first 10 calls pay the bills, the second pay the...
Deb Bernstein.
Deb. Okay, so what was it? First 10 pay the bills, second 10?
Pay for the lifestyle.
Third for the dream, okay.
And the third one pays for the dream.
Okay.
Anyone else have a great saying they want to share before we go? Okay, so I want to invite you, anybody who would like to, I'm going to go to, I have a new rule too about buying liquor, is that I have to dress up and wear heels if I want to go to the liquor store. New rule. I'm going to be going and buying a bottle of wine, and I will be drinking it at 6 o'clock if anyone wants to share it with me online. And if anyone wants to continue doing some amazing networking, Roger Killen's group, BBN, they are doing 2 hours. There's over 60 people that have RSVP. So I think it's like a Tupperware party where if you invite 40 people or 40 people RSVP, 10 people show up. So we had almost 25 people RSVP. We're doing pretty good if this was a Tupperware party. So, so I just recommend keep networking, keep working on your businesses. Gina, everyone who's having a challenge with social media, Gary Vee said it best, just log your life. Don't give it a second thought. Just log something that you're doing today. You guys will see me do it. I've been life logging for a long time, and it's really starting to pay off because I'm always showing up in people's feeds. I don't care. And I've got this from Gina. It's just like, don't give a shit what people think. You know why you're doing it. You know you need to show up in people's feeds if you're in business, and show off who you are and be proud of who you are, because guess what? You're worthy of it. You're totally worthy.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for coming, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it was really great.
I'm going to take one more photo because there's more
thank you.
Started. Everybody hands up. I love it.
That's so great.
Thanks, Gina.
Really great.
Thank you.
Gina, Blair, and Elisa, really great. All of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Anissa. Thanks, ladies. Thanks, Andrea.
Happy Tuesday.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
We're even finished early. That's amazing.
Yeah, you guys made good time.
That was perfect. Oh, I should stop recording, I guess, hey?